Not going to be time to get to everybody out there, but please remember that they will be available on the individual podiums back to your right, starting at 1:15 today. And following our opening media session, the Big Ten coordinator of football officials, Bill Carolla, will be available for podium interviews for an hour back at those individual podiums as well. And the coaches and student athletes will all be available back there when that second session at 1:15 begins. We do have a couple of volunteers from our Indiana Sports Corps that are in the crowd that are going to be our mic holders. Guys, can you just identify yourselves? They're in the back corners. Can you come up a bit so that the media can see you? We're going to stand in the middle of the aisles. So the best way to get acknowledged for a question, even if the coach is talking, please have your hand up and we'll try to line up questions so that this moves quickly and that we can get in all the questions that we have this morning. But please get my attention and I will get our mic holders to you. And again, please understand we're not going to get to everybody, but you will have that additional time with our coaches and our student athletes in the back. If you get the microphone, please stand and make sure that you're using the microphone to ask your question. Identify yourself with your name and affiliation before asking, because this portion of the program is televised. But again, just look for our mic holders, get my attention, and I will direct them to you, and that's how we'll handle all of the media requests for this morning. We're about 9 minutes from starting here.
look like?
You couldn't ask for a better atmosphere than this.
Look at this! And he is gone! Touchdown!
If you're not ready as a player to elevate your game, then you shouldn't be on the field.
This is the one we've all been waiting for.
See you later! An amazing run!
This conference never fails to deliver.
Touchdown! Unbelievable!
These guys have fought so hard. I'm just so proud of them. This is a bucket list for anybody that loves sports.
It's your time.
Here we go! What a moment in the game!
I'll be playing the games like I know I'm gon' win. Time to begin on.
Got a man wide open!
I'll be playing the games like I know I'm gon' win.
Oh, great play!
Good things happen to people that work hard.
Killing this is day one. Everything I hit the R and
Life is all about opportunity. So now what are we going to do with this opportunity?
It's your time. Time to begin on.
Ready or not, here we go.
Time to begin on.
On the word of tongue, D-O-double-G, and I do it so lovely. Digging this track by the Neptune. Baby girl, follow me to the restroom. And I get buck wild. Shh, don't make a sound. I'll take you, lay you down, make your body go round and round. Do you want to? Don't say you
Good
won't,
morning
I
once
know
again,
you do.
everyone. And for those of you who are just joining us, welcome to Indianapolis, Lucas Oil Stadium, and the 51st Annual Big Ten Football Media Days. Just a reminder for those of you who weren't here earlier for this announcement, please get my attention and I will get our mic holders who are in either aisle to you to ask questions. It's okay to have your hand up while the coach is speaking. We want to have this work as efficiently as possible so we can get in as many questions. But a reminder that the coaches and the student athletes will be available on the podiums after 1:15. So if your question doesn't get asked here, you do have that opportunity. So please, let's all just work together today. And to introduce our first set of three coaches is BTN's Dave Revson.
Hi everyone, welcome to day 2 of Big Ten Media Days. Really excited to see everyone here. We are incredibly excited to embark on our 17th season at the Big Ten Network covering this incredible conference. It's been such a privilege for me to be a part of it here. And definitely want to thank all of the media members who are assembled here. Many of you have appeared on our shows through the years, have lent incredible insight into your program, and certainly again, very appreciative. Excited to embark on a new era, of course, with Commissioner Batiti this year, and excited to get back on the road. We hit the road for our preseason tour starting next week at Nebraska. We'll have hour-long shows previewing each team this year, so slightly different format than we had a season ago. To start things off at the podium this morning, I want to welcome the head coach of the Indiana Hoosiers, Tom Allen. He's entering his 7th full season as the head coach in Bloomington, has 3 all-conference returnees from a season ago, including the Big Ten Rogers Dwight Return Specialist of the Year from last year, Jalen Lucas. So please welcome Indiana head coach Tom Allen.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. Just would like to welcome Commissioner Petiti to the Big Ten. And the short time we've worked together, I've been very impressed and really looking forward to his leadership in our conference. I'm honored and blessed to be representing Indiana University here today. And I am very, very proud to be an Indiana Hoosier. I would like to begin by honoring the memory of Vi Talifero. Last month, we lost a very special member of our Bloomington community. In 2021, the Big Ten created the George and Vi Talifero Fellowship in honor of this amazing couple. One of the players we brought here today, his name is Aaron Casey, linebacker. He wears number 44 in honor of George Talifero. We decided to come up with a new tradition of selecting a player each year that will wear that number that best represents the work ethic, dedication, integrity, and perseverance that George Talifero displayed. And Aaron Casey is a perfect representation of this honor. Aaron's a graduate with a degree in financial management, all Big Ten linebacker, one of the best returning players at that position in our conference, and has become one of our best players and one of our best leaders. So excited to have him here today. Also, Noah Pierre, a very versatile defensive back, is with us. Noah's a special, special young man. Came to Indiana, had to earn his stripes the hard way. Took a few years to play on special teams and probably not play as much as he wanted on defense, but man, he just stayed the course. So tremendous perseverance and grit. And was rewarded a couple seasons ago to have that opportunity. He's been a starter ever since. Also a graduate with a degree in kinesiology. Awesome, awesome young man. And also, running back Jalen Lucas is here with us today. As a true freshman, became an All-American, first team as a kick returner. As was also mentioned, the Big Ten Return Specialist of the Year. And as special as he is on the football field, he's even better off. 3.2 GPA, tremendous worker, leader, humble, and a great representation for our program. I'm extremely excited for the upcoming season. Our one word for 2023 is toughness. We define that as the mental and physical strength to persevere. We had 8 games last season that were decided in the fourth quarter. So for the past 7 months, we've been building our toughness and developing this football team to be able to finish in those opportunities. We have a strong nucleus returning, and we had great success in the portal. We were very focused on identifying young men across this country that were the best football players that fit our culture, that wanted to be at Indiana. Obviously, a compressed window to figure that out, so therefore we focused a lot on guys we already knew, had recruited previously, or coach may have coached at a previous school, or had a chance to be able to get to know a coach on that staff that was with them every single day. I think that's very, very important. Also really excited about the 3 new staff members we have on the field. Bob Bostad, our new offensive line coach, brings a tremendous experience in identifying and developing offensive linemen in the Big Ten Conference, as well as Matt Guerreri, who will be coaching our safeties and co-defensive coordinator that will be calling our defense. And then finally, Anthony Tucker, who's our new wide receivers coach that brings tremendous experience, once again focused on identifying and developing players at his position. So excited about this program. Obviously have a challenging schedule ahead of us. Very excited about the future. Got to build it, keep growing every single day. Questions?
Yep, we're going to start right here down in front.
Gwen Parks, Indiana University Student Television Station. Coach, Is it difficult to build confidence with such a young team when your first game of the season is against a powerhouse like Ohio State?
Well, I've been blessed here. So I've been head coach for 7 years, and 5 of those 7 years we've opened with a Big Ten opponent. So very familiar with this process. My first season was the Ohio State Buckeyes back in 2017. So challenging, yes, but I would say it forces you to grow up real fast. And so the urgency that the offseason is impacted by this reality of who you play September 2nd to open the season, I think it helps you. It helps you grow. It helps you have that attention to detail at a high level. Everybody's excited about the start of the season, but I think when it's that kind of an opponent, it all gets raised to another level. So our team knows that. We understand that. There's an urgency that our staff has because of it, and fall camp is affected by that in a very positive way. So it's a challenge that we embrace without question.
Coach, we'll go right down here in the center.
Sammy Jacobs from Hoosier Huddle. The wide receiver group seems to be more diverse in body types and skill set and stuff like that. Is that something that Coach Tucker brought in? Is it something that you discussed with the coaching staff to change the room to make it a little bit more dynamic?
Yeah, I think that it was something that we as a staff collectively identified, trying to create, explosive plays. When you go through, you think about the game of football, and there's two real, stats are stats, but there are two ones that really matter, and that to me is, can you protect the football on offense? Can you create takeaways on defense? So that turnover ratio is one, and then the explosive play ratio. How many can you create on offense? How many can you prevent on defense? And so we're not creating enough of those on offense, and it's hard to drive the football 75 yards on the defenses in the Big Ten. So wanted to get some more receiver body types to help create more explosive plays. So that was by design, and even in the portal mindset to go after that, as well as even as we're recruiting guys in our current roster. So definitely by design as a staff to be able to try to create more explosion by our offense.
Coach, we're going to stay to our right.
Zach Osterman, Indianapolis-Star. Tom, regarding Ohio State and opening with a Big Ten opponent as often as you have, I guess what have you learned from those experiences in terms of how you build week one prep when you've done this so many times before, having to start with not just a Power 5 opponent, but a conference opponent?
Well, I think that, like I said, it just fast forwards everything. It just causes you, and I get it, certain opportunities, you can kind of have a chance to slowly build up to a game like that. We don't have that luxury. And so everything is geared around that. So I think that once you get through that process and you have a chance to prepare for that type of an opponent in that situation and knowing it's going to happen, because you think about this, our sport, we don't have any preseason games, and you have 2 scrimmages that you have against your own teammates, and then we do a mock game the week before, and so that's just simulating situations, but you're not playing somebody else. And so to be able to have that where you go from that to having to play such a high-level opponent immediately, it's challenging. When you have some young guys, you have some new guys, you got to mold them together because best team wins on game day. So just trying to build that best team. So as we go through, you got more probably focus on game-like situations than ever before in that window of time. But like you said, once you get through that and you have that opportunity, man, it really allows you, I think, to have an advantage, in weeks 2, 3, and 4.
We're staying down onto our right.
Coach Daniel Ollinger, Hoosiers Now. In terms of the quarterback position, when you eventually do name a starter, how important is it to you and your coaches that starter is a dual threat quarterback? We saw how Dexter Williams opened up the offense with his ability to run last year towards the end of the season. So just when you name a starter, how important is it that they can also threaten in the ground game?
Well, I just think, I'm a defensive coach, and so by trade, and I just know it gives us trouble. Anytime a quarterback can extend plays, and it's usually those when it's not, scripted, when they can be able to create, elongate, put pressure on your secondary, and be able to beat you with his legs. You have to account for him in your pressure, whether you got to spy him or whatever you need to do. So I think anybody, and I think moving forward, that's really what we want to be able to have at that position, to be able to extend those plays. So yeah, I think it's a variable for sure, but at the same time, once you pick who that individual is, you got to make sure you're building, everything around them for they can be at their best and they can be able to be comfortable. And obviously whoever it's going to be is going to be, a younger guy that's going to have to grow up really fast, So, but I think that ability to extend plays, I think we're even seeing at the NFL level, how valuable that can be. You keep that guy healthy, it's obviously an extra weapon that's very effective.
Coach.
Over here, Coach.
Coach Mason Williams with the Hoosier.com. right here. I'm curious, you mentioned with your defensive background, now you're bringing in a new position coach that's going to call the defense for you. What goes into that decision for you?
Well, for me, I chose to call it a year ago because I felt that was best for our program at that time. But I had not called it, obviously, with all the different things that are going on and with the portal and the NIL and just the complexities that you now deal with, even at a higher level in that position. So I just felt very strongly as we went through that process, and I'm glad that I did it, but obviously feel like that we need, in order for us to get better and move forward, I wanted to bring somebody in to be able to call that, and so I'm really excited about Matt. I've known him for a long, long time, and Coach Kett's the one that really, brought him up from a GA to a position coach to his coordinator there in their program for many years, and so very close with him. And that was a big influence on me, but I feel like that it's important for me to become the best head coach I can be, the best, game day, manager of the entire game, both sides of the football and special teams, for me not to be focused into calling the defense. And so I'm excited about that. I think it makes us better. And I'm excited about what he's brought to our program. And so, but this is a situation where he came to learn what we do. We have a system we believe in, and I want to make sure we stick with that, which we will, because our players believe in it. It fits our personnel and what we do. And I think he was a great complement to that. So it brought some ideas for sure, but also I want to be able to have the ability and the flexibility to be in that offensive meeting time as well, making sure that everything in all three phases is being where we need to be able to be our best on game day.
Down on our right, Coach.
Yeah, Tom, Jack Ankeny, SI Indiana. You mentioned hiring Bob Bostad this offseason. Just how confident are you that he can bring significant change to that group this upcoming season? And with having so many guys that, similar personnel as last year, what do you think it will take for those guys to kind of improve for the upcoming season?
Well, it was a huge focus for sure, and then Bob has a tremendous track record and in our conference. And so I've already feel like we've gotten better, with some certain things that he's brought. And getting Matt Bedford back is huge. And losing him week one was a big blow to us. He was our best offensive lineman. And getting him back, and he's back to 100% now, which is exciting. I'm very excited for him. But I think the whole group, just to be able to mesh them, he's been with them all spring, being able to bring in his thoughts, his ideas, the toughness that he brings, just the attention to detail, the way he coaches them, and just the relentlessness of the way he approaches offensive line play. So it's a huge part of our team. We know that. I know that. We understand that. It's been something that we addressed, obviously, and those guys got to step up. Got several guys that play a lot of football at that position for us, and I'm excited about that group leading the way on our offense.
Okay, we have time for two more. We'll start over here on our right.
Hi, Coach. Carlo Barone, the Hoosier Network. Another year where the starting quarterback for week one is kind of up in the air, but regardless, you have guys like Jalen Lucas who kind of broke out towards the end of the year. How do you see yourself implementing more plays and getting those guys more touches?
Well, it's going to be by design without question. Getting Cam Camper back, losing him last year was a big blow as well. And so having him back healthy is going to be huge to be able to take some pressure off a young quarterback. And the backfield as well. Josh Henderson, I'm really excited about him. Christian Turner, another player we brought in through the portal, that I think we have a very, very strong running back room and have some flexibility, some different body types there, different body types at receiver, as was already mentioned. And to be able to create those explosive plays, to be able to take some pressure off us having to drive the football. But we want to be able to do a good job of being able to have a system where our guys feel comfortable, and whoever that quarterback is, that they can maximize their strengths. And so at the end of the day, it's being able to take your roster, maximizing those guys' skill sets where they can play their best football and be very, very productive. And at the end of the day, we got to score points. We got to score touchdowns in the score zone. We got to do a great job of staying on the field and playing team football.
All right, thank you, Coach. And we have one more down in front here.
Coach, the landscape of college football seems to be changing hourly, but one of the big things was the elimination of divisions in the Big Ten. How does that, one, give you the opportunity to play new opponents, and two, what was your first reaction to that news?
Well, I think when you look at, bringing in UCLA and USC, man, that's pretty exciting. That's awesome. We bring 2024, UCLA comes to us. 2025, we get to go out to California to play USC. Last time we played the Trojans, O.J. Simpson was their tailback. So bottom line is new opportunities, great time to be in this conference. You're going to see equitable schedules where teams are going to be playing teams more equally across the conference, which I think is a great thing, and that excites me as well, and playing some different teams on a more consistent basis. And so, but you look at it, though, there's a lot of great football teams in this conference, and so everybody's schedule is going to be tough, and I'm excited for the future of the Big Ten Conference. Have an awesome day. Elio.
Thank you, Coach.
you as a shy girl until I made you my girl. Now you push me like a big boy till I cuffed you like you did something. You ain't gotta wait for it. You ain't gotta wait for me to give you my love. You ain't gotta wait for it. Things are getting sticky, girl, I think that I'm stuck. I'll admit I'm wrong, but I know that you gon' come for me. Yeah. Never gonna not hit by your love, and it's just to me. And every time you hit my phone, you say you need company. I'ma run up on you. 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 I'ma run up on you.
Next up on the stage is the head coach of the Maryland Terrapins, Mike Locksley. The Terps have 7 all-conference performers coming back from last year. Of course, won the Duke's Mayo Bowl last season, winning back-to-back bowl games now for the first time in 20 years. Please welcome the head coach of the Terps, Mike Locksley.
Good morning. Excited anytime I get an opportunity to be here in Indianapolis. As always, would love to thank you guys, the media, for the job you guys do covering the great sport of football. You know, in the summer, I'm just getting back from vacation, and during the summer, I usually try to find a little inspiration for going into the season, and it's ironic because the inspiration I found happened in a tiny airport in the British Virgin Islands about 10 days ago. And there's nothing worse than finishing a great vacation and then on your way home, be stuck with about a 14-hour delay in getting out of there. And my family and I were stuck in Tortola in the British Virgin Islands in a really small airport there at Lettsome Airport in Tortola. And I got an inspiration. There was a little newsstand there inside the area where we were stuck for about 12 to 14 hours. And it's the guy named Joel. So this is a shout out to Joel for the job he did, because there's about 70 people that were affected with their flight being canceled, not being able to get home, and we were stuck without a lot of amenities and trying to figure out how to get home. And when you deal with airlines, sometimes they don't understand customer service anymore, and you get very few answers. But when I looked over at that little newsstand after about an 8-hour wait, I saw Joel there, and this guy had tremendous customer service. He made the best out of a tough situation for a lot of people, and he did it with a smile on his face. He, delivered food over to people, turned his TV around so people could watch TV as they waited, and it made me think. A coach's job is to take players where they can't take themselves, and with today's college, the landscape of today's college football, players are getting their just due finally with NIL, transfer portal, and all these things. But what I took from that 14-hour delay at the airport was customer service is at an all-time low. And seeing the way Joel navigated and handled all these people that probably weren't in the best of moods at that time, it kind of gave me a shot to say, you know what? One of the things that I feel like we do a great job at Maryland is we want to give our players the best college experience they can get. And I know that they're getting paid now with NIL and they're doing tremendous things and they are well deserved. But I still think it's our jobs as coaches to provide this great experience. And the best thing that we've done at Maryland since I've been back, and I wanted to take some time to thank a couple of people, we created a mentorship program. And this mentorship program takes some of the top CEOs and Fortune 500 companies located right outside of our campus. And 85 of our players have mentors that are CEOs, powerful business leaders, political leaders that are within the Maryland community. And it's been the best thing that we've done. And I want to thank David Gordon and Jeff Leventhal for setting up this mentorship program. And anybody that's been recruited by us have heard us talk about this program. And I looked at that as providing something outside of just money that would benefit our players for not just the next 4 years, but the next 40 years. And so, again, I want to thank David and Jeff for the job you guys have done with that mentorship program. Excited about the direction of Maryland football. Back-to-back winning seasons, back-to-back bowl game wins. Really excited about where we are academically in terms of preparing our guys for opportunities outside of football, as well as opportunities to compete at the next level. We had 22 academic all Big Ten selections a year ago. 10 guys on our 23 team have already earned their degrees, their undergraduate degrees. We've got one player, Jay Sean Jones, that's earned an undergraduate degree, a master's degree, and working on a second master's degree. And so to me, those are the types of things that I'm really proud of when you talk about our program. You know, when you talk about developing them for the NFL, you know, we just had 7 guys here in Indianapolis for the Combine, which is the 9th most nationally. We had 5 guys drafted off of our 22 team. 10 total guys from last year are on NFL rosters as they start camp. And what that says is you can come to Maryland and you can get a great experience that prepares you for life after football while also being developed to have opportunities to play at the next level. It also speaks to us being a developmental program, and I use that term a lot. And when I say developmental, we are a program that we are going to take players and we're going to find ways to make them better because of the time they spent in our program, whether it be in the classroom, on the field, or just in life, and have a positive impact on them. Our strength and conditioning program, led by Ryan Davis, has done a tremendous job of helping with the foundation that we've built the last 4 years, and I think it's been noticed by just about anybody that's seen us play. We've created some recruiting momentum. The thing for us in recruiting, we're looking for smart, tough, reliable guys, and we feel like the last class that we signed, we've really hit those areas. We've been able to get some help, immediate help from the transfer portal. And are really excited about seeing just what this team can be. With us today, we have 3 players, Tarheeb Steele, we have Leah Tungavailoa, and we have Roman Hemby representing us. And all 3 of these guys are exactly what we talk about when you talk about representing the Terp way, and really excited that you guys will have an opportunity to spend some time with those 3 individuals that I think really reflect what being a Maryland Terrapin's all about. I'd like to end by just sharing a really impactful quote that I read. It says, "Vision without action is a dream. Action without vision is a nightmare." And for us, our program is at a point finally where we can say we are here to compete for Big Ten championships. You haven't heard me say that in the previous 4 times I've been in front of you guys, but I think now is the time. But we're not going to let goals like winning championships get in the way of doing the work, and our players understand that. And so with that, I'll open it up to whatever questions you guys may have.
Dustin Schutte, Indiana Sports Beat. Mike, you opened the season up with your alma mater, Towson. How unique is that experience going to be for you?
Yeah, Dustin, it's a really unique situation, a place that has given me so much. You know, the game of football has provided an opportunity for me to change the lineage of my family. Growing up in a tough area of D.C., playing at Towson, and that 5 years I spent at Towson really have shaped and molded me into the man I've become today. And the coaches that helped me along the way, I find myself at times mimicking some of those great coaches. And so to be able to play my alma mater with their new coach that just came in for an opening game is something that I'm excited about. It's the second opportunity I've had to play my alma mater, but this one is really special for me because it is my alma mater.
In the back, Coach?
Mark Rogers with the Voice of College Football. Mike, you mentioned that the recruiting inroads that you've made, your predecessor as well, the program has developed well for the NFL, but most of that has come at the wide receiver position, defensive backs. Do you feel like you've developed this program to the point that you can compete with the best in the Big Ten in the trenches on both lines of scrimmage?
Yeah, you know, this year we had 2 offensive linemen drafted and a third that probably should have been drafted, but we have at least 3 of our 4 starters from a year ago that are all in NFL camps, and so we really feel like we have done that. You look at the defensive line and on the O-line, we all understand to win in the Big Ten, it starts with how you play inside the trenches. And so there's been no doubt that we've put a premium on how we recruit to prepare to play in the Big Ten. And to me, it means winning in November. And the way you do that is by establishing the ability to run the football as well as stopping the run. And we'll continue to recruit those positions in that manner.
Do we have another question for Coach? Up front here, please.
Mike, Steve Streaming, XL Sports. You've got this program now, so a lot of people believe top 30 in the country. How much pressure is it on you now to maintain that? And then also, you were talking about some of the transfers. How important is Shepard, the defensive back from Cincinnati, going to be to your program?
Yeah, you know, when you put yourself in a position where we've laid the foundation, we don't feel the external pressure. I think any pressure that we have to deal with as a football program or a football family, it starts from within. And for us, every year we have to start from ground zero. There's no building on what you did a year ago. You know, what happened a year ago at being 8-5 has no bearing on how we'll play this year. And I think it's really important for our players and anybody that's part of our football family to understand that there's no building on last year. You start from ground zero, and what you want to do is take the work that you put in a year ago, try to find a way to do it a little bit better. And I think we'll get the type of results we want to have at the end of the year.
We have time for one or two more here. Any remaining questions for Coach? Oh, right here.
John Steppe, Cedar Rapids Gazette. Several first-year coaches this year in the Big Ten. Is there anything that 2023 you wishes that first-year you would have known in this conference?
Well, because of my experience here, having been at Illinois and been a part of building that program with Coach Zook, knowing the way this league is, I came in with a pretty good understanding. I do say that the 2023 me understands that to win in the Big Ten, good teams don't beat themselves. And there are a lot of things when you look at last season that some of those games where we were close that we didn't necessarily do the things or take control of the things we can control. And it's going to be really important if we want to take the next step, which is to compete for a Big Ten championship. It's going to start with us and by us. So,
all right, we have time for one final question, if there is one. All right, without a final question, Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you,
and
guys.
Good luck with your upcoming season.
Trying to smile, but the air is so heavy.
I'd like to welcome back Dave Revson to introduce our next coach.
Jamie, thanks. The next coach to arrive at the podium is PJ Fleck, the head coach of the University of Minnesota. Fleck entering his 7th season as the head coach of the Gophers. They welcome back 8 all-conference players from last year. The 2022 season ended with a bowl victory in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. It is the 6th consecutive bowl win for the Gophers. That is the longest streak in the history of the Big Ten Conference. Let's welcome PJ Fleck, head coach of Minnesota.
All right, good to see everybody. Like everybody said before me, really excited about the 2023 season. I want to thank our athletic director, Mark Coyle, who I think is the best athletic director in the country. I want to thank our interim president, Ettinger, for his leadership and the guidance he's provided us over the last few months. Heading into year 7, I mean, it seems like yesterday, but this is year 7 for us at the University of Minnesota, and it's a tremendous honor to lead the flagship university of our state. Never take it for granted one day. We talk about our program being elite academically, athletically, socially, and then obviously with the serving and giving piece of that. I think we've made strides every year since we got there in all 4 areas. It's a life program, as we continue to talk about. We're talking academically. We'll just skip to all the other stuff. We've had 27 academic All-Americans in the history of the University of Minnesota. 9 of those 27 have come in the last 6 years. I know our staff and Jackie Lanish and her department and Robert Day are very proud of that, as we are too. Athletically, over the course of the last 3 full seasons, I think it's well documented, we have 29 victories, which is almost averaging 10 wins a year, and along with 14 draft picks over the last 4 years. So incredibly proud of our players, not only having the success on the field, but also doing what they came to actually the University of Minnesota for, and that is obviously the academic piece of that. Transitioning into the 2023 year, a lot of you and a lot of the outside sources have considered our schedule the second hardest schedule in America, right behind Ole Miss of the SEC. And so, you know me, I like to take things and be able to give it to my team and let us process it. So we presented it to them in January, basically, and said, hey, listen, this is the second most opportunistic schedule in America, and that's the way that our team has been talked to since January and what we've been preparing for. We've also taken this word, you're going to see we're pretty experienced team and inexperienced kind of combined this year, but we've taken this word poise. And I'm talking about composure and balance, you know, especially with the schedule that we have. We better be a really poised football team. We better be a composed football team. We better be confident, and we better be balanced. And we've taken this word poise and said, this is what we have to do to be really successful in 2023. And then we took it to a little bit of an extreme, and we said, okay, how do we get our message home to our players? So what we did was, since January, they've been listening to the band Poison in the weight room every single workout. And I'm not sure how many are 80s rock fans, but if you ask them what their favorite Poison song is, I'm sure they can actually tell you at this point. We actually got to a point where I meet with our board of directors, which is, you know, a lot of our players on our team who are the leaders, and we meet around once a week. And they usually start the meeting for the first 5 minutes telling me what they need to make the program better. It's their time to be able to tell me what we can do to even make it better. And the first thing that came out of their mouth this summer was, Coach, listen, we get it. We just want a little less poison in the weight room. So we've actually diminished the amount of poison we're playing inside that weight room right now. So it was really interesting to connect our generation with them, with that band. We have an interesting blend of experienced and inexperienced players. Talked about, I think it's well documented, the players that we actually have to replace in 2023. We're talking about 5-year starters, 4-year starters, the Tanner Morgans, the Mohamed Ibrahims, the Mariano Sori-Marins, the Jordan Howdens, the T-Times, who are all now moved on to the National Football League. So we obviously have to be able to refill those and replenish that with some inexperienced players who are going to have an opportunity, but that's why you recruit. But when we talk about the experience we have coming back, we've brought 3 players here, Chris Altman-Bell, Brevin Spann-Ford, and Tyler Nubin, that have 18 total years of Gopher football combined, a 7-year player, a 6-year player, and a 5th-year player. So it's going to be a really interesting combination that we have moving forward. This is definitely a player-led team. And we talk about this all the time. Bad teams, nobody leads. Average teams, coaches lead. And elite teams, players lead. This is definitely becoming the offseason a player-led team, and I couldn't be more proud of the guys that we actually brought with us today. And you know me, I always like to talk and give a little tidbit about every single one of those guys that we brought. I'll start with Chris Altman-Bell. I've known Chris Altman-Bell for 8 years. I mean, most guys go to school. He's getting his 3rd degree in 7 years. I mean, we call him Dr. Crab. Chris Altman-Bell, Crab's his nickname. Who will ever forget his touchdown against Fresno? If he has a size 13 shoe, it's out of bounds. Thank God he has a size 12 shoe and stayed in bounds, or that 19 season doesn't go the way it has. The big catch against Penn State, 19, another big catch and touchdown that he had against Wisconsin. The one thing I love about Chris Altman-Bell was he was part of the group that we offered once we got to Minnesota to bring with us, and he's matured tremendously. You talk about a young man who's going to be a tremendous father, a tremendous husband, and has grown up a lot through the adversities that he's had. He's getting close to being back to 100% and came back for his 7th year in our culture, I think, which speaks volumes to our program. Brevin Spann-Ford, you know, it feels like yesterday we were just recruiting Brevin Spann-Ford, who was 6'7", 208, 210 pounds at camp. And I remember this young man had multiple offers, but he had to keep coming back to our camp. And we're a developmental program, so he's 210 pounds. We're wondering if he's going to be a tackle, a tight end, or a wideout. And it comes to the 3rd time he comes to our summer football camp, and his mom, Jackie, finally looks at me. She bangs the table and looks across me and says, "What does my son have to do to get an offer to the school he wants to be at, his home state, Minnesota Golden Gophers?" I said, "I guess that's it. We're here to offer him." That's all it took, and we offered him, and I think the rest is history. The one thing I love about Brevin is when you watch him with his nephews, we have open practices for all of our families to come to any practice. And his family takes advantage of that, being a Minnesota young man. And watching him play with his nephews, again, another guy who's going to be a great husband, a great father, and just an elite person as he's developed inside our program. And last but not least, Tyler Nubin, who's one of the best safeties in the country, in my opinion. You talk about all these guys. You know, Brevin Spann-Ford was a 2018 Scout Team Player of the Year. Mohamed Ibrahim was a 2019 Scout Team Player of the Year. We're a developmental program. Tyler Nubin had to sit behind the Antoine Winfield Jr.'s and the Jordan Howdens, and he's emerged as one of the best college football players in the country. We originally recruited him, you know, as a corner / wideout, and ended up at safety. His dad, Rodney, mom, Sharice, were both student athletes, and he gets a lot of that competitive nature and confidence from his parents. But he has really become the vocal presence on our defensive side of the ball, and he can back up all the charisma and confidence that he has. He missed the last 2 games of the year. I think that's well documented with an injury. But the best thing about him is, as Coleman Bryson, who was a freshman, was his backup, became the bowl game MVP with a pick 6. The first person to meet him almost in the end zone was Tyler Nubin, and he almost got a penalty for running onto the field. And if somebody's going to get a penalty for running on the field, it's only going to be me. So, I'm just kidding. That's a joke if you know what I'm talking about. But that's the type of kid he is. That's the type of young man he is. I'm really looking forward to the season. And with that, we'll open up for questions.
Please get your hands up so we can get our mics over to you. We'll start over here on our right, Coach.
Coach Lynn Harrington with Stay Alive Power 5. How you doing today?
I'm doing elite. Thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. So how big is it for your program to be opening up the season by hosting Nebraska, you know, Thursday night in prime time, and how do you plan on taking advantage of the spotlight?
Well, I just got off the radio with the Nebraska guys, you know, and, I've known Coach Rule for a long time. I have a ton of respect for what he's done. We go back to the Western Michigan days for me and the Temple days for him. He's a phenomenal football coach with a phenomenal culture, and his culture is all about connectivity. And anytime you're opening with a Big Ten opponent, you know it's always going to be a tough matchup, especially when you have a coaching staff like he has and a team like he has. I've always had a ton of respect for Nebraska. Our team always has. And starting Big Ten play right away, really kind of gets the season off to a really exciting start right away. And it's going to be a fun environment, Huntington Bank Stadium, and we're looking forward to it.
We have a question in the back.
Hi, PJ. Scott Docterman with The Athletic.
Hi,
In a
Scott.
story that ran yesterday, there was some allegations that you probably found troubling regarding your program made by some former players. And there was a reference to a Fleck bank and Fleck coins that could be used. In some cases, there's allegations of violating team rules with those Fleck coins. Could you kind of describe what a Fleck bank is, those Fleck coins, and maybe respond to some of the allegations made?
Yeah, first of all, the Fleck bank, mostly used in 2017 and 18, was an analogy in a team meeting, talking about the more you invest into a program, the better experience you're going to get out of it. And as a head football coach, when you come in and you don't know anybody, right, the guys that do really good things are going to have a really good experience. If you're not doing all the right things, you're probably not going to have a great experience. There was no currency ever exchanged. There was no coins that ever existed. It was an analogy simply to explain investment for life, a life lesson of investment, simply that. No one ever got out of any type of punishment for that. And just so everybody knows, in punishing our football team, that word punishing, in fact, our athletic department has taken over our disciplinary type actions. We do not use physical activity to discipline our players at the University of Minnesota, and we have never done that. Our players do things like they wake up early and clean the weight room. And whatever you did, you watch a video on that. If you were late to class, you watch a video on tardiness. You then write your professor a letter. Those are the disciplines we actually have within our program, that our athletic department changed their policies and made sure that no physical activity of any sport could be used as punishment based on what we created as a football team. These allegations are baseless. We have full support of our athletic director, Mark Coyle, and our university leadership. This is a similar story that gets peddled every single year. And the majority of the players have been dismissed or removed from our football team. We also have around a half dozen anonymous reporting avenues within our football program that players can go to if they have an issue. Protection for All, EOAA office, mental health support, SAC, Leadership Council, and our athletic director, Mark Coyle, gives his phone number, his cell phone, to every single football player to call them if they have any issue. And to this date, there have been 0 claims on this issue. 0. Our program and culture is proven to work on and off the field and is always done in a first-class manner. We're one of the most transparent programs in the country. There are tons of testimonials from past, present, and even future Gophers to support and prove that. My energy needs to be on the 2023 football team, and that only, and not the baseless allegations. So that's what the Fleck Bank was, strictly an analogy. And with all the other things that were reported, we have explanations on that as well.
We have time for one final question. If there is one, we'll go in front here.
Coach Sammy Jacobs from Hoosier Huddle. With the new schedule, how important was it to keep those rivalry games that Minnesota's been playing for hundreds of years?
Oh, it's huge. I think, when we all had to fill out, like what we all had to kind of fill out as an administration and a program of, what programs, what rivalries mean the most to you. And for us, and we have so many rivalries at the University of Minnesota, being one of the oldest members, but to hold on to the Wisconsin rivalry, the battle for Paul Bunyan's axe, and the float of Rosedale with Iowa is incredibly important for our fan base. It's important for our tradition, the pageantry of college football, and I think the Big Ten got it right when you're protecting those rivalries. I think you're not going to make everybody happy when you're rescheduling everything like that, but I thought the Big Ten did a really good job of making sure we protected those rivalries, and I think all of our fans want to see on a yearly basis. And if you don't see it on a yearly basis, you're going to see it very soon. And I think that's what's change is inevitable, and it's been for the better.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
You got it. We're the Boat Sky. Go Gophers. Thank you.
now we'd like to welcome BTN's Jake Butt to the stage to introduce our next head coach.
Good morning, everyone. I think it was 2016 when I was here as a player, so I just have to say I'm thrilled to be here with you guys at this year's Big Ten Media Days. Of course, we have an exciting season ahead on the Big Ten Network, and we look forward to once again being your home for 24/7 coverage throughout the fall. Making his debut at Big Ten Media Days is Purdue head coach Ryan Walters. Following 2 successful years revamping the defense in Champaign, including last season where he led the #1 scoring defense in all of the FBS, Walters makes the short trek to West Lafayette to lead a Boilermaker program that returns 5 all-conference honorees from last season. So with that being said, please welcome Purdue head coach Ryan Walters.
Wow, this is awesome to be able to sit in front of you guys as the head coach at Purdue. Definitely a humbling experience. I've known for a long time that I wanted to be a head coach one day. I remember sitting in a staff meeting as a student assistant in 2009 at the University of Colorado, and Dan Hawkins is running the show there. And I just remember that first staff meeting saying, you know, man, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to be. And so to be here before you today is awesome. You know, we've got a saying at Purdue. It was coined by our corners coach. His name is Sam Carter, and he says, you know, at Purdue we're trying to bless you, not stress you. And so I definitely feel blessed today. Blessed to have a community and a career path that has put me in contact with people